Again, thank you so much, everyone, for having me today to talk about the future of work and how to adapt the hybrid work place environment. Of course, this topic, I believe it's very crucial and very fundamental, not only for entities and businesses, but also for us as individuals, because it's related to our prosperity, to our to our future. And we all know about how the future is a very core element of our thinking. I mean, every day we are thinking about the future. But before starting to talk about this interesting topic, I would like to present myself. As I mentioned, my name is Marwan, and I'm a senior digital specialist working currently with Hamad bin Khalifa University in Qatar. I'm more specialized in areas related to artificial intelligence, human-computer interaction, and customer experience. I studied, I'm graduate from the University of Bath in UK and the Graduate Institute of Geneva. And I worked with several accounts in a lot of let's say disciplines or sectors. So moving forward, I would like also to talk about Hamad bin Khalifa University for those who doesn't know it. So Hamad bin Khalifa University is a member of Qatar Foundation for Education, Science, and Community Development. It was founded in 2010 in Qatar to continue fulfilling Qatar Foundation's vision of unlocking human potential. Indeed, it's also a homegrown research and graduate study university that acts as a catalyst for positive transformation in Qatar and the region, and of course, while having a global impact. So we have about more than 800 students at HBQ. We have 6 colleges, and we have 3 research institutes in 3 areas: energy, computing, and biomedical research. So I'm working, as I mentioned, as a digital specialist, more specifically a web lead, a web unit lead, and project manager at HBQ Communications. And of course, HBQ Communication, like any directorate or unit of that looks after the entity communication, is entrusted to assist with assisting the development and success of the university strategic goals. So our directorate adhere to common guidelines to ensure that all official communications of the university combine accuracy of information, consistency of messaging, and tone and style of any visual presentation. So we started working and using RIKE in 2016 with all of our 8 units, and we have more now than 40 team members, what I call them the legions of the team. So we have a great team of legions that has been growing across the time. I believe when I joined the team in 2016, we were a few members, and now, as you see in the photos in 2019, this is in the graduation, the team is getting bigger and bigger. But recently in 2021, we had our graduation ceremony online, and everyone was working, remotely. So if you are interested to know more about HBQ and our programs, our research institutes, and our colleges, you are more than welcome to visit our website or to visit our digital channels: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Now, moving forward, I would like first to go through the sections that we will talk about today. So I would like first to take you through a brief history of the work and what can the past tell us about the work. The second part, I would like to talk about the pandemic experience and what was the impact on all the aspects of the work. Then I would like to talk a little bit about the disruptive world, more specifically, the disruptive innovation and the path of transformation or disruption. And finally, I would like to conclude with a few recommendations or let's say predictions about the future of work and how we should, as professionals, to adapt with it. So always there is this wise guy that we need to consult with whenever we have a problematic or we have a situation, which I call Mr. History, which is of course, I mean, it's very crucial and important that we look always at the back before taking any decision or any I mean, a new policy or a new regulation. So there is a lovely quote of Robert Heinlein that says, a generation which ignores history, it has no past and no future. So, and when we talk about the recent history of education, we can notice that there have been a lot of changes on all the organized all the aspects of work. So in 1900, we have, for example, the age of manufacturing, and then 60 years after, we got the age of distribution and the expansion of global connections through multiple means of transportation and communication. And by 90, the age of information rise, and we started to have those connected networks and those connected computers, and the world start to communicate with each other as a part of globalization. And then we came to the year 2018, where the customers, where our business systems or business ecosystems become customer-centered and more customer experience oriented. So, and now we are 2020, and we know 21, and we know what happened in 2020. I mean, the appearance or the pandemic and how it changed the whole landscape of work. So we started recently the remote first age, where technological innovation had their own say, and technology became the main hero who saved a lot of industries. Now, moving forward and looking at the change that happened in terms of workers' style of working. So there is a huge important raise of the skilled elite versus the low-paid status workers. And there is a huge percentage of manufacturing in the past, more specifically the year 1948, where it was about 75%, but today this percentage is about 15%. And this impacted, of course, the number of working hours per week. In the past, we used to have 60, and now we have 40 per week. I mean, starting in the recent years from 2017. So what we can understand or what we can learn from the past, that changes will occur and will keep always occurring. And our role is to accept the changes first and then to adapt with them. There were a lot of changes, for example, in laws, in wages, in the nature of work. There is a major change on the the cost versus value, I mean, products and services, and the technology has played a major and big role to simplify our lives and to increase the efficiency level of our work. So I would like to share with you this interesting caricature, which indicates one of the concepts that was mentioned by Teresa, is that humans, we always would like to keep or to stay in our comfort zone. And the change for us is something hard, and we don't want to take easy steps to change. So this, for example, caricature, it indicates how sometimes taking initiatives and looking at new innovations could open a the doors for new opportunities and improvements. Now, talking about the pandemic experience and its impact on the, in the sector of work. In 2020, there was the world witnessed the arrival, of course, of this unwanted guest who blocked everything, and he stopped all the aspects of economic growth, the business, and even our personal lives. So this guest has resulted a huge amount of losses when it comes to businesses. About 225 million jobs were lost, plus 135 million will be pushed into poverty by 2030, and even the investment in clean energy was highly impacted by a reduction of 30%. And of course, governments and entities were, especially those who has, let's say, social low and middle income, so they were not highly supported. But despite all of those inconvenience of the pandemic pushed us to think about innovation and pushed us to think about a new solution. And if we take here the example of the leading companies in the sector of information technology and social media, for example, the CEO of Twitter gave his employees the possibility to keep working from home forever if this, if their type of work is not the one that requires their physical presence. The same thing when we see the quote of Brian Chesky, the CEO and founder of Airbnb, he said, "My thoughts are employees in charge and not companies," which means that the decision should come from employees first. Then Sundar Pichai from Google, the CEO of Google, said also that the future of work at Google is flexibility. Now, looking at a few statistics and a few figures about the future of work, and here, for example, we are taking the example of USA, where we can notice that the level of productivity and efficiency at work, it remained the same for some companies, about 39% in some, and it varied between 39 and 41%. For other companies, the efficiency and it was higher. While when we look at the pre-COVID-19 situation, we can tell that the percentage here is very low. The same thing here. If we look at the change in remote work trends due to the COVID-19, we can say that people are going more into online work and remote work. Now, talking about a disruptive world. So as I mentioned at the beginning, it's important for us to look at a new solution, to accept the change and to move forward. And this is what comes to the plate of the decision makers and the businesses. And one a very interesting quote of Abba Ibn. He says that history teaches us that men and nations behave wisely when they have exhausted all other alternatives. So it's time to find a new alternative. And I believe that our world is full of disruptive innovations and the new alternatives of work. If we see the examples of Netflix, Spotify, Booking.com, or all of those companies and startups, they decided to take an innovative path and to not have a full stagnation with the classic or the paradigm of work. So the problematic now for most of the companies, are we going to, or should we go in the direction of a transformation or optimization? And I believe, as mentioned by Teresa, this depends a lot on the nature of your business. Many companies, they go directly through disruptive innovations, disruptive solutions, and they end up by having good results. Some others, they need to optimize and to transfer and to accept the change. Now, moving forward to the future of the work and how we predict it. So the future of work should be flexible, and decision makers, leaders should empower flexibility. If we look at the certain statistics and survey, we can say that 66% of the leaders think that their companies, they are thinking seriously to redesign their offices space for hybrid work. And there is about 73% of employees who want a flexible and remote work options to stay. Also, there is about 67% of employees who want more in-person work or collaboration post-pandemic. So investing in technology, again, I always get back to what Teresa mentioned. The digital transformation is no longer an option. And the opposite, it is a full fledged of opportunities. And investment in technology, it's true that is very costly and it requires a huge resources, but it will also, the time to get the reward and income is coming as well. Now, we need as business and decision makers to think also about the challenges that will be coming when it comes to the future of work. And one of them is the digital exhaustion. And as we know today, everything, we are living in a connected world where we have plenty of platforms and interfaces. And in order to manage our work and ensure several aspects of our health as individuals, we need to address properly those challenges through research. And then there is a very critical component that we need to address it also, which is the social capital and culture. As we know, the pandemic affected a lot this component, and people start to be a little bit isolated, and teamwork is very important. And we need to think how to avoid any kind of distraction when it comes to a psychological side of workers. Finally, which is related to the previous point, we need to think about how to establish a great life and work balance, which I think a lot of employees today, due to the flexibility of workplace, they found themselves in front of the luxury either of working or not or staying away from work. So the combination or making a good balance is highly required here. Again, the last point maybe that I would like to finalize with it is how we should also think about the employee's experience. I mean, this is also related to the motivation of workers, their attention to details and their contribution, which I believe will be one of the challenges that we need to deal with in the future. Finally, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I'm free to your I'm open to your questions.
So yeah, I have a couple of questions for you. Thank you for the great presentation and great overview. And speaking from your own experience in HBKU, how was the transition going to the hybrid work, basically like the new normal, and any key learnings that you can also share with us?
I think at HBKU Communication, we have this great, thank you to our leadership, we have this great a skill of adaptivity. I mean, since before the pandemic, by the way, we started using Grok, and we started to cope and adapt with project management through online tools. And when the pandemic came, we find it easy for us to work remotely. So I think we were implicitly prepared for this, for the change. And this is, I think, also is the change management is one of our greatest skills.
Great. And also to continue actually with probably with the same question, in a sense that apparently some companies were more prepared, let's say, to move to hybrid workforce. Apart from using some tools, maybe what type of advantages those organizations had, since they have been the front runners? What do you think made it much easier for them to move remotely?
Again, as I mentioned, Maya, at the beginning, many companies, many decision makers, they always avoid to make a change and to move forward and to take, I mean, a step forward in digital transformation. And answering your question, in order to achieve this, I think it's good to have a design thinking process where, I mean, employees or staff need to discuss what are the current challenges they are facing. And based on that, they can create a model that reflects or a set of workflows that could be automated. And I believe Reich has a great potential to convert any workflow into, I mean, a fully automated and performant system.
Great. Thank you so much. Let me just quickly check the chat if there are any more questions. So yeah, as Sam already mentioned, your presentation was quite inspiring. Thank you so much, Marwen, for sharing your experiences and your knowledge.